Ever wonder what it really takes to build a business and a life that feels like yours? Welcome to That Big CEO Energy. I'm Callie, entrepreneur, operations whiz, and your go-to for the real, raw, and unfiltered side of business and life. Because let's be honest, entrepreneurship isn't just about strategy and success. It's about figuring out who you are in the messy middle, trying new things, well, just because you can, and creating a life that actually fits you. From solo deep dives to candid convos with powerhouse business owners, we're talking all about the highs and the lows and the why did no one warn me about this moments that come while chasing big dreams. So let's get uncomfortable, embrace the chaos, and make it happen. Hey, welcome back to your Monday Moment. It's this little series that I'm doing to give you a dose of real talk, give myself a dose of real talk maybe, to get our weeks going. And so today we need to talk about something that might sting a little bit, but I promise it's coming from a place of love. Are you ready? Your goals don't care about your feelings. Let me explain. What I mean by this, and I listen, I know it sounds harsh. You have goals, right? We all have goals, and we want to maybe hit a certain revenue number. We want to sign a certain number of clients. We want to build a business, create a life, right? And have the impact that we so desire to do. But here's what I see happening. You let how you feel dictate whether or not you show up for those goals. You don't feel like posting today, so you don't. You don't feel motivated, so you skip the sales call? Okay. You don't feel confident, so you don't send the pitch? And listen, I get it. Like, we're human, we have feelings, and I'm not saying that your feelings don't matter. They absolutely do. But here's the truth. Your goals are not going to wait for you to feel like it. The business that you want to build doesn't care if you woke up on the wrong side of the bed. It doesn't care if your world is burning down behind you. The revenue goal that you set doesn't care if you're feeling insecure today. The impact you want to make doesn't care if you're tired. So you know who shows up anyway? The people who are actually hitting their goals. They show up on the days that they don't feel like. They do the thing even when they're not motivated, and they take the action even when they're scared. Because they know that the feelings are temporary, but results are built on consistency. There have been so many days where I don't feel like showing up. There have been days and days and days when I was tired, unmotivated, mostly doubting myself, questioning everything in my business. And you know what I learned? I learned that those days that I showed up anyway were the days that actually moved the needle. The days when I sat and recorded my podcast because I didn't feel like it. The days when I had so much building to do on the back end. And I was paralyzed by fear that nothing looked right. Everything looked sloppy. And it turned out to be like the best work that I've ever created. The days when I had to get my squirrel brain in order, and I felt myself getting on a different subject because I was, I had things to do for my class and for my membership that I was putting off and putting off and putting off. And I had to get myself back on track. I didn't want to do any of that. But the days that I showed up anyway were the days that moved the needle. The days that I let my feelings dictate my actions were actually the days that I stayed stuck. And I get it. Your feelings are valid. What absolutely, our feelings that we have inside of us are all valid. but they're not in charge. They don't get a say. And when they start to get a say, that usually is fear that is showing up that starts to drive the bus. And if you listen to last week's episode, where we talked about taking action before we feel ready, that involves feelings too. And it's feelings of unworthiness, it's feelings of perfection, it's all of those things. But when we can say, my feelings are over here, and what I need to do to move the needle is over here, I'm going to deal with my feelings, but I'm not going to deal with them simultaneously when I'm trying to get stuff done. So here's your challenge for this week. I want you to do one thing this week that you do not feel like doing. Record the masterclass. Record the podcast episode. I don't care if you feel like your hair is a mess. I don't care if you don't feel like putting on makeup. Whatever that is. Those are all feelings that are getting in the way. I want you to do one thing this week that you do not feel like doing. Not something that's going to harm you or burn you out. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the thing that you know that you should do, but you're letting your feelings talk you out of it. Send the follow-up email. Show up on stories. Make the sales call. Publish a post. Whatever it is, do it even though you don't feel like it. Because that's what commitment to yourself and to your business looks like. Your goals are waiting for you, but they're not going to wait forever. So show up this week. Not because you feel like it, but because you decided to. Have an incredible week. I'm cheering you on, and I'll see you back here next Monday. Hey friend, thanks for hanging out with me today. If something in this episode clicked for you, I want you to shoot me a DM over on Instagram. The link is in the show notes. Let's chat about how you're making the messy middle work for you. If you loved what you heard, would you mind sharing this episode with a friend who needs to hear it too? And drop a quick review if you don't mind. It helps get the word out, and I appreciate it more than you know. Catch you in the next one.